In this presentation, we are going to get a better understanding of our visual perceptual skills. Visual perceptual skills encompass the brain's capacity to interpret, analyze, and give meaning to what the eyes see, which is crucial in facilitating various cognitive and physical tasks. There are 7 essential types of visual perceptual skills: visual discrimination, visual memory, visual spatial relationships, visual form constancy, visual sequential memory, visual figure ground discrimination, and visual closure. Mastery of these skills is vital for activities such as reading, writing, and navigating one's spatial environment, as they enable the individual to understand and interact with the visual world effectively. Take a look at the image on the right and see if you can figure out what is in the picture. The Renshaw cow is the perfect tool to illustrate how vision is a process of interpreting what is seen. Our eyes can view objects, but until the eyes communicate the messages to our brain where the vision is processed, then we're not really seeing. Once you can find the cow in the picture, it usually becomes very easy to find the cow in the future because our brain has already processed the image. Just like a computer works by having both hardware, memory card, hard drive, keyboard, and software Windows, Chrome, Mac. Our vision requires both the eyes as the hardware and our brain as the software. Visual discrimination is the ability to recognize differences and similarities among objects and shapes. When individuals experience challenges related to visual discrimination, it can have notable impacts on various aspects of their cognitive abilities. One such consequence is difficulty recognizing letters and words, particularly when they closely resemble one another. This can result in reading errors and hinder the fluency of reading and comprehension, and also reduce problem-solving abilities. Individuals may struggle to identify patterns, discern differences, and devise solutions to visual puzzles or challenges, which are essential skills for critical thinking and creative problem solving. Additionally, slow and inefficient information processing may become apparent. They may process visual information slower, making tasks that demand swift decision-making or rapid reactions more difficult. When visual discrimination skills are excessively high, several compensations may come into play. Perfectionism is one notable consequence, wherein individuals become remarkably critical of their own work and that of others. This need for perfection can lead to slow decision-making, as individuals painstakingly scrutinize every visual element before making choices or completing tasks. Consequently, this meticulous attention to detail can impede efficiency and increase stress and anxiety, particularly when the quest for perfection may not be obtainable. While an exceptional focus on details can certainly be an asset, it may sometimes overshadow the broader comprehension of a situation or task. Visual discrimination skills play a crucial role in our daily lives. They help us differentiate between similarly shaped letters, ensuring we read and write accurately. In mathematics, these skills come into play when recognizing numbers and symbols, making solving problems and performing calculations easier. Visual discrimination also lets us recognize familiar faces, making social interactions smoother. We need to find specific information in text, charts, or graphs. These skills help us pinpoint the details we're looking for. They are essential for safe driving on the road, allowing us to promptly respond to traffic signs and signals. Additionally, visual discrimination aids in understanding and interpreting maps and diagrams, which is valuable in navigation and problem solving. Visual memory is the capacity to remember and recall visual information over time. Poor visual memory skills can manifest in several impactful ways in daily life. Academically, students with weak visual memory may struggle with tasks such as spelling, comprehending what they read, solving math problems, and recalling information from diagrams or charts. In social and practical scenarios, limited recall of specific details like faces, places, or visual patterns can affect a person's ability to recognize familiar people, navigate known environments, or follow instructions effectively. Visual memory is important for generating mental images that fuel creative ideas and artistic expressions. Creativity may be limited without it. Additionally, everyday tasks like remembering shopping lists, directions, or building layout can become notably more challenging when visual memory skills are lacking. Focusing too much on visual memory can have downsides. It might lead to neglecting important skills like listening, understanding emotions, or critical thinking. Also, it can limit creativity because people become too fixated on copying what they remember visually instead of coming up with new ideas. Additionally, relying too heavily on visual memory can lead to memorization rather than really understanding things, as people may just remember how something looks without thinking deeply about it. Visual memory is fundamental in our daily lives. It enables us to recognize familiar faces and identify the people we know. When navigating the familiar routes and places we encounter regularly, our visual memory helps us find our way, reducing the need for constant directions. Inside our homes or workplaces, it assists in locating everyday items. In the realm of creativity, visual memory is a key component, allowing us to draw, paint, and create art by recalling images and concepts. It also proves invaluable when we read and interpret maps and signs. Visual spatial skills involve perceiving, understanding, and mentally manipulating spatial relationships and arrangements of objects and shapes in one's environment. Individuals with poor spatial skills may find it challenging to navigate through both familiar and unfamiliar places, leading to difficulties in following directions and sometimes feeling disoriented. Spatial skills are essential for understanding mathematical concepts like geometry and trigonometry. Poor spatial skills can result in reduced hand-eye coordination, affecting performance in activities like sports, assembling objects, or tasks requiring precision. Organizational tasks such as packing a suitcase or arranging items in a room can become more time-consuming and laborious for individuals with poor spatial abilities. Creativity can also be impacted, as spatial skills are closely linked to envisioning and exploring innovative ideas or concepts. Finally, impaired spatial awareness, including difficulty estimating distances and sizes, can have practical implications, affecting tasks like parking a car, parallel parking, or making safe decisions when crossing streets. Individuals who encounter difficulties with visual acquisition often do not have well-developed visual spatial skills. However, some individuals adapt to these challenges by cultivating strengths in other closely related areas. For example, they may develop strong visualization skills, enabling them to create and manipulate visual images mentally. Additionally, they might excel in visual memory, which allows them to remember and recall visual details with exceptional precision. Compensatory strengths in visualization and visual memory provide them with valuable tools to navigate their visual world, while they still may struggle with activities that require high-level visual spatial processing. Visual spatial skills are an integral part of our daily lives. When we engage in reading and writing, these skills come into play as we recognize letters, words, and sentences on a page, organize our thoughts, and create coherent written content. In problem solving, visual spatial abilities help us envision potential solutions, mentally manipulate data, and analyze spatial information to find answers. Interpreting diagrams and charts, whether in science, engineering, or mathematics, relies on our capacity to grasp complex concepts and data through visual representation. Our ability to organize and arrange spaces, belongings, and even our thoughts benefit from these skills. In activities like assembling furniture, constructing objects, or engaging in DIY projects, visual spatial skills guide us in comprehending how components fit together. Additionally, when pursuing creative endeavors, such as art and design, these skills play a pivotal role in visualizing and arranging elements to create aesthetically pleasing compositions. Even in sports and physical activities, our hand-eye coordination, aiming, and navigation depend on our visual spatial abilities. Visual form constancy is the ability to consistently recognize and identify objects or shapes regardless of changes in their size, orientation, or position. Visual form constancy skills play a critical role in various aspects of life. In reading and writing, these skills are fundamental as they involve consistent recognition of letter and number forms, ensuring that individuals can decipher and compose text accurately. Similarly, artistic abilities heavily depend on visual form constancy, as artists and designers need to perceive and reproduce shapes with precision to create visually appealing artwork. Furthermore, problem-solving tasks often require recognizing patterns, variations, and inconsistencies in data or situations. Individuals with weak visual form constancy skills may struggle to identify solutions, particularly when spatial relationships and patterns are integral to the problem-solving process. Form constancy skills are woven into our daily lives in several ways. In reading and writing, we rely on them to recognize letters, words, and sentences, even when they appear in different fonts, sizes, or orientations. These skills also come into play when we engage in object recognition, allowing us to consistently identify objects and shapes regardless of their position or size in our visual field. In recreational activities like puzzle solving, the jigsaw puzzles, crossword puzzles, or brain teasers, form constancy helps us recognize and manipulate shapes and patterns. Moreover, when we're behind the wheel, form constancy assists in judging distances, recognizing road signs, and accurately parking our vehicles. Visual sequential memory is the ability to remember and accurately reproduce a series of visual elements in the order in which they were presented. Poor visual sequential memory skills can have far-reaching impacts on various aspects of an individual's life. One significant effect is limited attention and comprehension, as individuals may struggle to follow and understand sequential instructions, making it challenging to complete multi-step tasks effectively. Increased time and effort are required for organizing and executing activities that involve step-by-step processes. Learning new skills becomes more challenging, as these often require the ability to grasp and master procedures in a sequential manner. Additional support or accommodations may be needed to compensate for difficulties in handling sequential information effectively. Reading, spelling, and math require the ability to remember and arrange visual symbols or elements in the correct order, which impacts overall academic performance. When visual sequential memory is exceptionally high, individuals may develop certain compensatory behaviors that come with potential negative impacts. One is an overemphasis on repetition, where individuals heavily rely on rote memorization and repetition of familiar sequences. While this can aid in recalling information accurately, it can hinder deeper understanding or critical thinking when memorization takes precedence over comprehension. Another potential impact is resistance to change. A person may develop a strong preference for maintaining sequences exactly as they have memorized them. When faced with variations or adaptations in information or situations, they may experience discomfort or frustration, making it challenging to adapt to evolving circumstances or incorporate new data. Individuals may feel compelled to adhere strictly to what they have memorized, potentially stifling creativity and limiting their willingness to explore alternative approaches or solutions. We rely on visual sequential memory skills every day in various ways. When communicating, we remember the sequence of words and ideas to express ourselves clearly. In problem solving and strategizing, we use this skill to remember the steps and actions needed to find solutions. Reading and understanding text involves remembering the sequence of letters and words to make sense of what we read. Learning and recalling information in the right order helps us succeed in our studies and work. When navigating to places, we remember the sequence of streets or landmarks to reach our destination. Organizing tasks, following schedules, and sticking to daily routines depend on our ability to remember and perform actions in a specific sequence. Visual figure ground perception is the ability to distinguish and focus on a foreground object or shape against a background, enabling us to recognize and interpret visual elements in our environment. One significant challenge of poor visual figure ground skills is the difficulty in dealing with visual clutter. These individuals may struggle to distinguish and isolate important visual information from a complex or visually crowded background, leading to confusion and inefficiency when processing visual scenes. Additionally, reading can become challenging as tracking and recognizing words or letters on a crowded page becomes problematic, negatively affecting reading comprehension and speed. Visual overload is another consequence where individuals may feel overwhelmed in visually cluttered environments, making it difficult to focus on specific objects or tasks. This overwhelm can lead to stress and distraction. Tasks that involve visual search, such as finding items in a cluttered room, can become particularly challenging. The constant effort required to sort and filter visual information to isolate relevant details can lead to mental fatigue, reducing attention and overall focus. In social situations, individuals with poor figure ground skills may have difficulty focusing on relevant social cues or maintaining eye contact, potentially affecting communication and social interactions. Individuals who engage in rapid scanning, whether with visual information or written content, often encounter two significant negative impacts. Firstly, there is the issue of incomplete understanding. When individuals skim over visual scenes or written text hastily, they risk gaining only a superficial grasp of the subject matter. This approach can result in an incomplete understanding of the details, nuances, and overall context, potentially causing them to overlook critical information that could be essential for making informed decisions or fully comprehending the material. Individuals may prioritize reading speed over thoroughly examining the text, causing them to miss critical points, subtle nuances, or crucial information embedded within the material. Locating and identifying items in cluttered or crowded spaces. This could be as simple as finding our keys on a messy desk or discerning specific ingredients on a fully stocked pantry shelf. Driving involves safely maneuvering through traffic while identifying and distinguishing road signs, signals, and other vehicles amidst the complex visual environment of the road. Shopping requires distinguishing the products we want from the background and other items on the shelves. Figure ground skills are essential for maintaining eye contact and focusing on relevant social cues during conversations. Reading and learning use figure ground skills to keep their place in a long text by distinguishing the current line or word from the surrounding content, allowing for smooth and accurate reading. In learning, these skills aid in working through a busy math worksheet or any complex visual material, ensuring that no details are missed by enabling the learner to focus on specific elements while filtering out distractions from the background. Visual form constancy is the ability to consistently recognize and identify objects or shapes regardless of changes in their size, orientation, or position. For visual closure, skills can significantly impact an individual's reading abilities. When someone struggles with visual closure, they may find it challenging to recognize words quickly as they can't easily fill in the gaps from partial visual information. This can hinder fluent reading and result in a slow reading pace. Some continue to need to look at every letter of a word to comprehend it. Additionally, the continuous need to process entire visual information without the advantage of filling in gaps can be mentally draining, causing individuals to experience reading fatigue faster. When visual closure is highly developed and becomes a compensatory skill, it can have unintended consequences for readers. A heightened ability to fill in gaps from partial visual information may lead to an over-reliance on guessing words rather than fully decoding them. This guessing tendency can cause misinterpretations, especially when several words appear similarly. Consequently, readers might develop false confidence in their understanding, causing them to skip words or entire lines, thus overlooking vital details. This lack of attention to detail can result in a superficial or incorrect grasp of the material. The habitual practice of guessing or skimming through text can, over time, introduce comprehension challenges as essential information is missed or misinterpreted, detracting from a proper understanding of the content's intent. Visual spatial skills are vital in various aspects of our daily lives. Regarding reading, these skills enable us to process and understand text by recognizing the arrangement of letters and words on a page, facilitating smooth and efficient reading comprehension. Engaging in puzzles, whether it's jigsaw puzzles, crossword puzzles, or brain teasers, relies heavily on visual spatial abilities. These skills allow us to perceive and manipulate shapes and patterns, making puzzle solving engaging and challenging activity. In the realm of art and creativity, drawing and other artistic endeavors heavily depend on the ability to visualize, plan, and execute spatial arrangements to create aesthetically pleasing compositions. When we hit the road, visual spatial skills come into play while driving, helping us judge distances, navigate through traffic, and park vehicles accurately. Playing sports also relies on these skills as athletes must track the movements of objects, opponents, and teammates in a three-dimensional space to excel in their chosen sport. The passage discusses a popular claim that the order of letters within a word doesn't matter as long as the first and last letters are in the correct place, because our brains process words as a whole. There is some truth to the idea that it can read words with jumbled letters due to visual closure skills. Research has shown that reading words with internally rearranged letters can result in an 11 slowdown in reading speed. Some jumbled text is easier to read than others, depending on word length, the preservation of function words, and the predictability of the text. Ultimately, it oversimplifies the complex process of reading and the role of letter order in word recognition. Poor visual perceptual skills can have a substantial impact on a person's ability to maintain focus and concentration. When individuals struggle to process visual information or filter out relevant details efficiently, their attention spans may shorten and they become more susceptible to distraction. The effort required to make sense of a visually complex environment or task can lead to quicker mental exhaustion, making it harder to maintain attention over extended periods. It can diminish a person's engagement and motivation in tasks relying heavily on visual perception. When individuals find it challenging to understand or interact with visual elements, their motivation to complete these tasks may decrease, further hindering their ability to stay focused and perform well. Pattern recognition is a crucial aspect of visual perceptual skills, playing a fundamental role in understanding spatial relationships and patterns. This skill involves the ability to identify and make sense of patterns, shapes, and forms within visual stimuli. Proficiency in pattern recognition, which relies on strong perceptual skills, is essential for tackling advanced spatial tasks. For instance, recognizing and interpreting geometric shapes, deciphering complex maps, or comprehending intricate architectural layouts all depend on the ability to perceive and analyze patterns effectively. To learn more about vision and visual processing disorders, you can head to www.visionlearncenter.com.